What's up, guys? Welcome to Insert Series here, where insert description here. And I want to talk about what you need as an IGL, because I feel like, especially in Open, and I guess maybe to some extent IM, when people IGL, they don't really know what they're doing, and they don't really have any experience or idea on what they need or what they should be doing. So that's what this video is for. This is here to talk about what you should have going into a season and going into a group of people that you're going to be playing with consistently for the next however many weeks, months, games, whatever. So we're going to assume you're new to the team that you're playing on. You haven't played with this group of people before, and you have basically nothing established yet. So the first thing I would highly recommend is to establish your playstyle as the IGL. Are you going to play loose? Are you going to play rigid? That's really the qualification or condition that I'm trying to get across. How loose do you want people to be? When you call something, do you want people to follow exactly how you do it word for word? Do you want specific things to happen on these types of calls, or do you want to be a little more loosey-goosey? Let's just, do this overarching idea, and then we'll just do it. Let's just run it, see what happens, and let the chaos flow, I guess. This is a little more apparent when you start doing defaults, which I highly recommend, and I'll talk about later. Especially in defaults, you want to establish how loose or rigid people should be, so that people know what they can and can't do without getting yelled at, basically. So if you're okay with your teammates going for an aggressive A pick with an op, then that should be communicated before you start getting into scrims. If you are completely okay with people being like, yo, let me get this B pick, I have the greatest B pick in the world. You gotta figure out if that's good or bad. You can try it. You can see if it works for your team or not, and go from there. The second thing an IGL needs is some kind of internal playbook that they have, and really all you need to get yourself into high levels of play is a basic default, an execute for each of the bomb sites, and then maybe one or two special strategies that you might want to throw in there out of nowhere that's new, different, kind of wacky. So basically, in the default, you want to spread out, you want to work the map, you want to get picks. Let's say getting mid control on Mirage, getting banana and top mid control on Inferno. This is all part of your default. You want to explain what people should be doing in these defaults, who goes where, what you throw, stuff like that. This is very apparent on Mirage, where you need some sort of established mid default, otherwise no one knows what they're doing. They're just running into the open and dying. You need to establish your defaults and make sure that people have an idea on how the rounds should open up so that people can go from there. You also want to establish what people are throwing in terms of smokes, flashes, nades, whatever. So again, going back to this Mirage example, you want to be throwing your top mid smoke, for example, maybe a window smoke on top of that. You want to throw a molly into con, throw flashes behind you as you swing out mid to blind anyone on the cat jump or pushing mid. These are all things you can do on your default, and these are all things that you should explain and have your teammates either omit or add on top of these things based on what they think is optimal in the game that you're playing, specifically in the game that you're playing. Now, in terms of executes, obviously these are your end round plans, right? Everyone knows how to do a B execute on Inferno. Everyone knows how to do an A execute on a Mirage. You want to establish these executes again, just to make sure everyone knows what they're doing, so that when you say, hey, let's do our A execute, everyone's like, ah, yes, the A execute, where we throw stairs, jungle, and CT smokes. We throw flashes out. The guy in Palace mollies under Balk. Right? All of these things are established, and then you can just very quickly communicate this idea, and everyone knows what needs to happen for the end round call. And it's really important to have an execute, because if you don't, let's say, for example, your team just straight up does not know any executes or doesn't know how to hit a round at the end of the round, or hit a bomb site at the end of the round, you're gonna have like people randomly walking in, dying to a very common angle that can be blocked off, and it gets really sloppy and basically is very bad CS. Now for special strats, these are things you can come up personally, or like an idea you want to test but never had the group of people to do it with. And if you want ideas for that, check out Pro Strat series. I got like 30 videos, man. Haha, check out my content. Woo! Moving on to the in-game part of IGLing, or being the designated strat caller. The first thing, and the most important thing, being an IGL in-game, is have a plan at the start of the round. You absolutely need your team to have something to be doing at the beginning of the round. Now, this can be literally anything, but you need to say something. Because otherwise you're going to have people with their own ideas in their head, and sometimes these ideas can conflict, meaning the round is just really bad, right? If you don't say something as basic as, let's just default, right? If you don't say, let's just default, then people are going to go for like a random pick with a rifle at mid, and then your other guy is gonna like push B and trying to get an aggressive pick there. Meanwhile, your teammate is like also trying to contest the mid while all of this is happening, and nothing works. So at the beginning of each round, every round, have a plan, and it can be as simple as default. It can be something dumb and stupid like let's run around like idiots and make a bunch of noise. I very commonly call that on eco rounds where, you know, we just straight up don't have money and they have, let's say, rifle full utility, SMG full utility. I will literally call, let's just run around like idiots and make a bunch of noise everywhere. That way everyone knows, like, oh, we just run around and bait out their utility. Ah, yes, let's do it. And, you know, if you want to add on to that and be like, oh, make sure you don't die, or it's okay if you die, you can add on top of that and that's fine. But that's still a plan, right? You're still saying, hey, everyone, this is what we're doing. This is what I want to have happen, and you get the idea. And to reiterate, just call default if you don't know what you want to call. If you legit do not have any idea on what you want to do this round, just do a default, right? A default is ideally not very punishable. It's very open-ended. A lot of things can happen off of a default, and it's really great to call in 80% of your rounds because you can just straight up call something later if you don't know what to do at the beginning. Finally, when it comes to calling or having a plan at the beginning of the round, what you have planned for the round can be as simple as let's just default, or it can be as simple as let's have an end round plan of hitting A at the end of the round. Right? What you say at the beginning or at the end of freeze time can be an opener or a closer. People can end up filling the gaps if you call a closer, which could be problematic, but, you know, at the end of the day, you want to say something. You want to make sure that your team has a plan, whether it's now or in the next minute and a half, so that everyone's on the same page. Next thing about in-game is call mid-round. This isn't a common problem because usually what'll happen is people need to know what they want to do or what should be happening towards the middle of the round or the end of the round, so people are gonna, you know, just do this instinctively. But make sure you call mid-round and keep people updated on what the current plan is for the round. So for example, if you're defaulting, or if you're just working the picks, let's say you're playing Inferno and you're opening, the way you open the round is, yo, let's get banana control first, and then let's get mid control later, and then we're going to go quiet for 20 seconds, and then hit A. Let's say that is what you call it the freeze time. People in the beginning are going to be like, okay, we're getting banana control first. Right? Once you have banana control, people that aren't calling are probably going to forget what they're doing in terms of like the macro big picture of the round. So you got to remind them, all right, let's get mid control now. Right? So call mid round. Make sure you keep people on the same page, keep people updated on what you want to do, and Similarly, you might want to change your mind, or like change what you have planned based on what happens in the round. So let's say, for example, you in this banana control example, let's say you're like, oh, let's get banana control and then get mid control, right? Let's say that was the call at the beginning of the round. Let's say you get 3 picks of B. I think everyone in that moment would be like, yo, let's just go B. Like, fuck it. I'm not the IGL, but yo, I'm going B. You know? So in those situations where you change your plan, you gotta communicate that plan. Whether it's, alright, let's go take B. You know, it's free. Or maybe if you don't want to go B, even though you got 3 picks, you gotta tell your team immediately, like, yo, let's chill for a second. Let's all group first. Call mid-round, keep people updated, and make sure you don't have people doing random stuff. Related to that, be specific on who does what. This is really a lot easier now that you have the overhead ticker, or whatever it's called, where you can see what utility people have. It's a lot easier now, but you want to have specific people do this, that, or the other, and you want to call them out so that it's not confusing as to who should be doing what. This is actually one of my biggest problems when I call in my groups of friends and my teams. I will say something along the lines of, yo, someone smoked CT, someone smoked spools, I'm gonna molly emo, and then let's just hit it. Now in my mind, I expect people to be like, yo, I got CT, and someone else will be like, okay, I'll do spools. But that doesn't always happen, right? People don't always get the idea that I have in my mind of call what you're throwing. Now, I don't say call what you're throwing because I expect other people to do it, and that's my problem. That's my personal issue with my calling. But I'm telling you guys, tell people what to do. So in the same example, instead of saying what I would say, I should be saying things like, yo, Ethan smokes spools, Naf smokes CT, I'm gonna molly emo, and then you're gonna hit it after Elige flashes, does the God Flash, for example, right? That's a very clear end game. Everyone knows what they're doing, and everyone knows what the goal is. Let people play their clutches. Now, as much as you are the IGL, you're not here to babysit people on what micro decisions they make. You're not here to tell people, hey, you need to plant the bomb, go to firebox, and then this guy, you need to cover him from here while you're watching that, and then make sure you push into CT and make sure you're watching CT. Like, no. When it's clutch time, once the strategy part is over, you don't say anything. You don't call for them. You don't tell them what to do. You let people play their clutches and let them figure it out on their own. You don't necessarily tell people, you do this, you do that. Right? Let the people playing play the game. Last thing about IGLing, and this is honestly probably the biggest trait you need as an IGL. Like, if you were to remember one thing from this video, this is it. And it is, you need to remain positive no matter what. Now, obviously, it's hard to remain positive in, well, life. Especially depending on current events. It might be hard to do that. If you're losing, you know, like 0 to 10, it's kind of hard to remain positive and, like, keep people motivated. But you gotta do it. Like, no matter what, you have to. Another thing related to that is, there's an idea, you'll easily see it once you're in the situation, but once the IGL is visibly tilted, the game is over. You have lost. Right? You're probably already losing if you're tilted, and if the IGL is visibly tilted, everyone's morale goes straight down into the gutter. Straight down. Once the IGL goes down the gutter, the whole team goes down into the gutter, you lose. Everyone's upset, everyone's frustrated, and you might not necessarily know why, but that's one of the big reasons why. So, fake positive attitude is what I'm stressing here. I've been in this situation. You know, I've played games where I I was up 11-4 first half on Nuke. This is actually like 2 seasons ago or last season, depending on when you're watching this. Doesn't matter. We were up 11-4 or 12-3 on Nuke. And then we lost 13-16. We won 1 round in the second half. Now, obviously, it didn't just straight up happen. You know, round after round happened. But when it was 12-12, or when it was tied, whatever that scoreline was, I'm upset. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed that we're not winning these rounds, even though we should be. But I'm not showing that. I'm not showing my team that I am frustrated. I'm like, alright, it's fine. We can do this. It's easy. We just got to X. And even if that doesn't work, you cannot show frustration. You cannot show tiltedness, if that's a word. You have to just keep your mind as if it's round 3. Now, we did end up losing, and once we lost, then is where I'm like, heck are we doing? What is going on? Like, how did we lose that? After the game is where all the frustration comes out. I'm not exactly the kind of person to yell at people. I will be a little passive-aggressive, to be fair, but that doesn't happen until the game's over. Right? Once the game is over, 16 to whatever, or, you know, overtime scores, whatever, then is where all the frustration comes out and the team talk happens. It's called the team talk. That's when it's okay to be frustrated to your teammates, with your teammates. You can be upset, you can call people out on why they did this or that. Then it's fine. But during the game, while you're playing, none of that. Absolutely zero. You cannot tell people things like, bro, you need to stop whiffing. Or like things like, yo, come on, step it up. You know, you can't have that attitude. Well, I mean, you could, but it probably wouldn't work. Because most people don't respond to that well. You need to keep people motivated. You need to not necessarily force people to start playing better. You need to encourage people to play better. And you need to encourage the positive mindset, not force it upon people. You're not like a drill sergeant or anything. You're just another person playing a video game with another set of people. So keep that positive mental attitude, keep that PMA, as people call it, and fake that PMA if you have to until the game's over. Well, thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Thanks for watching. Like the video. Subscribe. I gotta do my YouTube sellout shilling things now. I mean, I don't. And I'm not going to. But I just wanted to make that joke. But anyway, for real though, thanks for watching. And I'll put out more rants like this in the future because I have a lot of ideas.